Join us. All that's necessary for evil to triumph is that good people do nothing. Let's do something big. Join us.
Join us. The vision will be completed.
Join us. Keep the legacy alive.
Join us. The dream really is unfinished.
Join us. Get educated, motivated, and activated to get things done.
Join us. Continue to fight and keep hope alive.
Join us, because what affects one directly affects all indirectly, and you matter.
Join us for a better life. Join us to make a better community, this beloved community. Join us because our destinies are connected.
Join us. We are better together. Show up and help us show out.
I'm the Reverend Dr. Linda Smith, pastor of Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Baptist Church in Renton, Washington. The dream unfinished, not a commemoration, but a continuation. The importance of this event is important because I'm reminded of the words of Dr. King in 1969 to the clergy at the Riverside Church, that silence is a betrayal of our soul. So this event really is a reminder to each of us that we cannot be silent. So all is not well, and that's why it's important. Collectively, as a group, we are powerful, but when we stand alone, we don't have any power. So the power of the wisdom of the past, joining with our young leaders. We need our young leaders to raise their voices so that we may continue to move forward in order that the dream might be realized.
Join us because even though it may seem like marching may not make much of a difference, just go back and look and see what happened. Our marching, our speaking, our protesting, our standing up for justice made a difference and broke a system that had been in place for almost 100 years. We intend to break another system that's in place that's treating our people as second and third class citizens, that's denying affirmative action, and that is not giving our communities the proper resources and funds that we deserve. When they did the March on Washington 60 years ago, Martin Luther King was only about 33 years old. John Lewis was only 23. You might be 13, 23, 33. We need you to join us. We're going to make a difference.
Don't you love it? Oh.
Dream unfinished. Continuation, not commemoration. If you look at the position that we're in right now in 2023, economic inequality has been devastating, and it's been perpetual, and it gets worse every year. And even when elected officials put policies in place, they're not adhered to. If you examine the results after the policy, you'll see where the policies are a complete failure. It's a continuation of the struggle for equality. We can look at voting rights right now, all kind of shenanigans, all kind of tricks being played to deny us equal access to the ballot. Black folks, young, old, have to roll their sleeves up and get ready to put their dukes up to fight for our rights all more vigorously now than we did in the past.
Dream unfinished as a continuation, not a commemoration. One of the last things Dr. King had said before he was assassinated, that we were coming for the check. We had worked on our civil rights and our jobs and all that, but it was also time for us to get our check that had been coming back, non-sufficient funds in the ways of land and money that was given to other immigrants that came to this country, and they were allowed and afforded all the benefits that the previously enslaved people were promised and never received. We need to become self-sufficient. We need to find ways. And so I'm so glad that we still have our elders here that were actually there and part of this situation when it started. So they have the template. It's not a thing that we have to reinvent the wheel, but we do need to bridge that gap. We need to bridge our generation gaps. We need to bridge these wealth gaps. We need to bridge these health gaps. There's so much work that we need to do, and the young people will want to do it. I believe if they know they can rely on us and we're there to support them, they will come do that work. So we're real excited to be the continuation of Dr. King's dream. We're hosting this event at the Northwest African American Museum for the young people, giving them information on awesome livable wage careers, not just jobs, helping them, that we're going to help them to navigate what the Supreme Court has done with this ruling to try to take away affirmative action when it comes to applying for college. The young people just need that guidance and not to be deterred by the fact that, you know, it's just a box that you don't get to check. You just have to really tell your story. And that's what it's all about. We never stop hearing about the tragedy that happened to the Jewish people and how they got their money, and you know, we never stop. They never forget. We're always told, forget it, get over it, let it go. No, that's not happening. And I just feel so confident in this young generation to be ready to stand up and do this work with the support of the elders.
Dream unfinished, a continuation, not a commemoration. It's important to me because if you think about the 60-year anniversary, there was a fight for jobs and freedom. If you think of 2023, there's a continuation of a fight for jobs and freedom. It's important for me to support this because the NAACP was an avid supporter of the March on Washington. And what we do know is that it was a collective effort. It was not just the NAACP. It was the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. It was union. It was clergy. And so there's a collective effort that needs to continue. And so the fact that this is a continuation, not a commemoration, because the fight continues. As we think of the rescinding of some of our civil rights laws and some of our Voting Rights Act, we're looking to seeing what's going on down in southern states. But I don't want it to get lost on what's happening in the state of Washington. When you look at the social determinants of health, economic security, health security, food security, hate crime, African Americans are victims of all of those, and we're on the highest end of that. So I want us to know that here in Washington, we can't get lulled to thinking what's going on in other states and not realize the impact of racial injustice that's going on here in the state of Washington. And so the NAACP is a part of this because we believe, with the folks who are on this phone call, we believe as a collective, we can continue to fight. And I'm just hopeful. You know, I'm a prisoner of hope. So I believe our fight will yield. If we fight, we win. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
I am so excited to be here celebrating the 60th anniversary of MLK's March on Washington. And the theme for me, Dream Unfinished, continuation, not a commemoration. I think it's so powerful because the dream is unfinished. I think we can't lose sight of the possibilities, what he wanted for us and what we can have for ourselves as it relates to economic empowerment, but it's all the things, right? It's what we believe is possible for ourselves. And so this intergenerational activity of people who marched with MLK, being here with youth, is going to be so powerful, such an amazing experience. I am just honored to be a part of this. And why should you join us? If you want to be a part of change, if you want to build legacy, now's your time. Together. It's better together. We get to drive real change. So exciting.
The theme, Dream Unfinished, continuation, not a commemoration. That means a whole lot. It's a continuation because everybody thinks about Martin Luther King Jr.'s speech on the dream, but the dream is unfinished. Justice delayed is justice denied. Freedom delayed is freedom denied. The jobs that were promised are being held back. So the time is now. Why we need to participate in this event and why we need to take action now is because we see in this current environment, we're rolling back. We're always on a hill. And if you think about it, if you're on a hill with a stick shift car, if you're not stepping on the gas, you're rolling backwards unless you got your foot on the brake. And right now, we're sliding backwards, even with our foot on the brake. So it's time for all of us to put our foot to the pedal and step on the gas and keep it moving forward, not just for us, but for future generations.
Well, a continuation, not a commemoration, is so important now because we are living in a nightmare. And Dr. King and our ancestors did not give life and limb and time, talent, and treasure for us to be apathetic now and sit back on our laurels. Frederick Douglass reminded us that power concedes nothing without a demand. And those right now in this hour, we can see that all of the demands that we made are going to be rolled back, and we're not going to have that. The only rolling that we're going to have is what Dr. King talked about in his dream of Amos 5:24. Justice is going to roll down as waters and righteousness as a mighty stream. And we invite you, I would invite everyone there. People need to join us now if they're concerned about life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness for themselves, their children, their children's children, and generations yet unborn. I believe, as one who was there for the 25th commemoration of the March on Washington, that now in the 60th anniversary of the March on Washington for jobs and freedom, still the same fight. The fight continues, and we need each and every one here because everyone belongs and everyone matters.
Not a commemoration, but a continuation. Now, what that means to me is a luta continua, that we need to continue this struggle. One of the quotes that comes to mind is what Dr. King said at the commencement of Morehouse in 1959, before the March on Washington. One is that he says, the great challenge facing every member of this graduating class is to remain awake, alert, and creative through this great revolution. He noted that the great question facing us today is whether we will remain awake through this world-shaking revolution and achieve the new mental attitudes which the situations and conditions demand. And I bring that here today because we are in a time when there are people who are anti-woke. They want us to forget about the dream. They want us to forget about the struggles that so many of our ancestors have made and sacrifices they have given in order for us to take advantage of the opportunities of this day. So it means that we need to wake up and really begin to model the new mindsets and the behaviors of a people who are free, who are competent, capable, and ready to enjoy the abundance on this earth and not be treated as second-class citizens. Our life is made to order. They should join us because we all together can really bring in a better society. We can live a higher quality of life and solve the problems that we face today when we use our faith and strength and creativity, right? And love, right? With wisdom to work together and to create a better community, or this beloved community that Dr. King talked about. We can have that, but we have to work for it with every thought, word, feeling, and deed.
Dr. King's vision, his unfinished dream, speaks to the work that must continue. We made progress in the fight for racial justice, but there's still much work that must be done. We must continue to use our voices, our power, our actions to create a more just and equitable society for all people. Collectively, we must use our voices. We have to use our power. We have to educate ourselves and others about the history of racism and discrimination. We have to speak out against racism and discrimination wherever we see it, whenever we see it. We have to support organizations that are working to fight racism and discrimination. We have to vote for candidates who support racial justice, and we have to get involved in our communities. Dr. King's dream is unfinished, but we can make it a reality if we work together. We are better together. Show up for us. Join us. Help us show out. We're better together.